Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. It's a pleasure to be joined today by my friend and a friend of Niagara, someone who's been here many times and was going to be in town today to make a in-person announcement, but due to the inclement weather was unable to make it, understandably. Lisa MacLeod, the Minister of Heritage, Tourism, Sport and Culture Industries, as well as Terry Miller, the Poppy Chair for Branch 612 of the Royal Canadian Legion in Beamsville, and Kathy Putman, the former and acting president of Branch 393 of the Royal Canadian Legion in Smithville. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to begin today's announcement by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. The territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. I'm so thankful that Minister MacLeod is able to join us today. She's been a strong champion of local legions across the province and someone who understands the importance of ensuring that we have strong local communities and that there's investments in those local communities. And I also want to acknowledge and thank Terry Miller and Kathy Putman for their tireless support of local veterans and their families, and of course the work that goes into promoting remembrance as a fundamental principle of our Canadian values. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I have the privilege of announcing a number of important community investments through the Community Building Fund of the Ontario Trillium Foundation right here in Niagara, including support for the Beamsville and Smithville Legions. However, before I move to announce the specific investments right here in Niagara, I would like to invite Minister MacLeod to speak more about the Community Building Fund and the contributions of the OTF to the well-being of Ontarians. Minister MacLeod.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you both, Terry and Kathy, and for others, like Councillor Bob, Gail, for joining us here today to talk about something that's very important to not only the region of Niagara, but throughout the entire province, and that is our heritage, sport, tourism, and culture industries in the not-for-profit, municipal, and recreational communities. And I think that, as you all know, as we near the 2-year mark of this pandemic, that the sectors that were hit first have been hit hardest and will take the longest to recover reside in the sectors that this ministry is responsible for: heritage, sport, tourism, and culture. They're the sectors that make us love where we live, and they're the sectors that make people from around the world want to visit, particularly in the crown jewel of tourism, the beautiful Niagara Falls. Throughout this pandemic, it's been very difficult in order to make sure that we continue to protect that important community capacity that's been built up over decades in this province, which is why in March of 2020, working with my colleagues in the Ministry of Finance, we were able to secure $105 million to support the Ontario Trillium Foundation's work in these sectors. We were able to support them because they were facing then and now significant pressures due to the pandemic. The funding that we're providing will support community organizations like museums, theaters, fairs, attractions, sport and recreational organizations, and cultural institutions to sustain operations in the short term, while helping municipalities, our Indigenous communities, and I'm here today on the land of the Algonquins, as well as nonprofit sports and recreation organizations to invest in sport and recreation infrastructure for the long term. Today's announcement will include municipalities, our beloved Royal Canadian Legions, the YMCA, and a sport organization. To date, we have invested more than $46 million to support 650 not-for-profit organizations through the Community Building Fund operating stream. And today, I'm excited that we will be announcing significant investments in Niagara as part of 186 Community Building Fund capital stream grants, which total more than $46 million. These grants will help eligible municipalities, Indigenous communities, and nonprofits respond to the challenges of COVID-19 by providing funding for sport and recreation facility infrastructure repairs, including retrofits and rehabilitation to meet public health protocol requirements and local community needs. The sectors that I have the good fortune and privilege of representing around the cabinet table continue day in and day out to make our lives better. And they have been particularly struck during this pandemic. But again, I say they are the very essence of what it means to call ourselves Ontarians and Canadians. And they're also the exact example of why people want to visit this province. They're responsible for a spectacular double bottom line. Each of the organizations which are recipients of the Community Building Fund operating or capital stream have a direct social and cultural impact in their communities, while at the same time generating revenues and driving our local economies. And so today is a very important day for the region of Niagara, and I look forward to getting back down there in person at my earliest opportunity to support the incredible growth that's going to happen there post-pandemic in all of the sectors that I've represented. But I'm really looking forward today for greater details and announcements in terms of what this particular fund means. And in order to do that, I'll have my colleague and my good friend and a new dad who's still awake in the middle of the day after. Kathy's laughing because she knows what it's like. We're happy that he's got a baby, but we know that it comes with a lot of work at long hours. And so with that, I just want to pass that over to MPP Oosterhoff to just walk you through what these investments mean for his community and the greater Niagara region. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. And thank you so very much, Minister MacLeod, for announcing that. That's very good news for a lot of communities across Niagara and across the province. And I'm very thankful for your championship of these community projects and, of course, the sectors that you represent. And I also just want to acknowledge how many people are involved in making these types of things happen. So many community organizers, so many activists, so many engaged citizens, so many leaders at the municipal level as well. And I know we have Councillor Sal Sorrento and Regional Councillor Bob Gale on the line as well, who have been fantastic champions for their communities and making sure that these investments flow all across Niagara. Today's a good day for not-for-profit organizations in Niagara, and I'm especially pleased to announce today that the province, through the Community Building Fund of the OTF, is investing $2,258,000 in community groups and local municipalities across Niagara, including $58,500 for branch 612 of the Royal Canadian Legion in Beamsville and $60,900 for branch 393 of the Royal Canadian Legion in Smithville. This funding will assist the Beamsville Legion in creating accessible entryways with automated doors, parking, and a fully accessible washroom, helping the Legion to become an even more inclusive sports and recreation facility. The funding will also assist the Smithville Legion in creating safe and accessible parking at the Legion's 2 entrances and provide an accessible entrance and washroom in the lower level, something that I know is very much needed. I'm also happy to announce that the Community Building Fund will be investing in a number of different projects across Niagara. $139,000 for the South Niagara Canoe Club in Welland, $218,000 for the Niagara Cricket Club in Thorold, $78,000 for the Heartland Forest in Niagara Falls, $498,000 for the YMCA of Niagara, $500,000 for the town of Fort Erie to do important recreation work, and $214,000 for the town of Niagara on the Lake. Earlier this week, I also had the pleasure to announce $489,000 for new sports renovations in the town of Pelham. As noted by the Minister, the Community Building Fund of the Ontario Trillium Foundation is investing $105 million across the province to support community arts and culture, heritage, tourism, sport and recreation organizations across the province. And these organizations support so many community engagements, tourism and recreation through a variety of attractions, experiences, programs, events, and activities. And as the local MPP for Niagara West, I want to extend again my appreciation to our local legions and veterans for supporting veterans and community engagement across not just Niagara West, but the entire region. At this point, I would invite Terry Miller to say a few remarks.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank both the Honourable Minister and yourself, Sam, for all the support that you've given to the Legions, and it's been a benefit. As the Legions are a non-profit organization, we work within our communities to support veterans and their families and extend our support to our communities. So one of the things that these renovations and upgrades are going to benefit is that we have quite a few disabled veterans within our area, which is going to give greater accessibility to our veterans, as well as their family members and community members to participate in events that happen within the Legion that previously maybe they wouldn't have the access to or the comfort of coming into the Legion to do that. So these kinds of renovations and upgrades are costly in a short period of time, which is very hard to generate funds for this. So these funds will be well utilized, and very appreciative of the Legions and our communities as our Legion extends itself well beyond our veterans and their family members to our community itself, as you have witnessed yourself, Sam. So again, I thank the minister, and I thank you, Sam, for all your support, and we look forward to moving forward with these renovations and making the Legion a bigger and better place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate all the work that you all do in Beamsville. I know it's really important and super appreciated. Kathy, I get to invite you now to speak a few words if you wouldn't mind.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm honored to be with you folks today. And we are more than thrilled here in Smithville to be receiving this, because what it's going for is going to enable the veterans that have the walkers and the wheelchairs to have better access, and their accompanying people. And we're just super thrilled. The downstairs washroom has been long over, but we've just never been able to afford to do it. So you have allowed us to do that, and for that we're truly appreciative. It's really noticeable that both Terry and myself are the poppy chairmen for our branches. So we know what the front line for the veterans is requiring. We know what's needed, and you folks have made our dreams come true. So I really want to take the time to say, even though Mother Nature didn't agree with us today so that we could all meet together, I'm honored to be in your presence, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know our veterans, when we make this announcement, are going to be so happy. So thank you and take care.
Well, the bigger thank you goes to the veterans and to all of you for supporting them. Thank you so very much, and really appreciate the work and that you were able to join us today. That concludes the formal portion of our announcement, but we would be happy to have any questions of Minister MacLeod at this time if the media does have any questions.
Thank you so much. That does include today's announcement. And like MPP Oosterhoff said, if the media has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute. Remember, one question, one follow-up. I don't think I saw any hands, so in case I missed anyone, let me know. But with that being said, Hussam, if you want to prepare for a photo snapshot so we can share it with a press release.
Okay, if everyone can please smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.